Are airline credit cards and frequent flyer programs a bait and switch? Is the promise and pursuit of free travel like chasing a mirage that doesn't get any closer? Is money pouring out of your wallet while you chase the illusion of free travel? Welcome to Airline Travel Unpacked, where an industry veteran talks about the inner workings of the airline industry. Shows are written with the customer in mind. I'll talk about news items and share my perspective on the procedures and the policies that impact you.
The walkway is empty. Please, watch your step.
In September, you may have seen the headlines about the Department of Transportation looking into airline frequent flyer programs. So what's the DOT's motivation? Let's find out. In recent years, the airlines have been turbocharging a source of revenue that most travelers are unaware of. The potential for abuse by the airlines has the DOT concerned. I'll paraphrase a small part of the public announcement from the DOT. The full version is available online. The DOT is seeking specific data to understand the largest reward programs and identify potential competition issues or consumer protection issues or risks. Our goal is to ensure that customer rewards are protected from any practices that would diminish their value, benefit, or availability.
Maintain control of your personal belongings at all times.
At first, I assumed that the DOT was going to address how hard it is to compare the different programs. I did a comparison in preparation for this episode and thought it was pretty convoluted. Trying to understand how the programs work is inconvenient and it takes a lot of time, but the DOT isn't concerned about that. After reading a copy of the letter that was sent to the airlines, I realized they are after something bigger. They are after something that can be measured in dollars, as in billions of dollars.
Unattended baggage is subject to search, inspection, damage, and removal.
Every industry was impacted by COVID. The travel industry was hit especially hard. Imagine your paycheck stop and you don't know when you're going to get paid again. How long can you keep a roof over your head, food on the table, and the utilities paid for? How long until your bank account is empty? During COVID, the airlines basically had no money coming in from ticket sales. For the biggest carriers, simply existing was burning through $20 to $30 million per day. No one knew how long it would take for travel to return to normal. The airlines, and everyone else, were counting down the days until the money ran out and they went bankrupt. Then things changed dramatically. Quietly tucked away from view, the big airlines each have a goose that lays golden eggs. Those special geese are the frequent flyer programs and the co-branded credit card partnerships. The lenders and the airlines worked together to determine the value of the programs. Then the airlines did something that had never been done before. They put up their frequent flyer programs as collateral. Once that was done, new lines of credit were made available, and the airlines had a lifeline beyond the government bailout. It was like making a trip down to the pawn shop. Delta was able to borrow $850 million. United borrowed $6.8 billion, and American borrowed $10 billion. The big question at the time was, where did these valuations for the collateral come from?
Group 6 customers looking aboard, 5775 feet to the main boarding lane. 126, going aboard.
I knew that there were millions and millions of unused points sitting in each frequent flyer program, but I couldn't understand why they were worth so much. After doing some research, I realized that it's not the points in the accounts that matter. It's the co-branded credit card partnerships that are like a bottomless pot of gold for these airlines. How much money is there? Well, I decided to take a look. On the screen are the 2023 revenue numbers from the credit card partnerships. The information was obtained from the company's annual reports. Delta's credit card partnership brought in $6.8 billion in revenue. American had $5.2 billion, United $2.7 billion, and Southwest $2.1 billion. To emphasize, that was just for 1 year, 2023. The table shows the co-brand credit card revenue and the number of passengers that were transported. As I read this, I'll round the numbers down for simplicity. Delta boarded 190 million revenue passengers. American boarded over 210 million revenue passengers. United boarded over 164 million revenue passengers. Southwest boarded 137 revenue passengers. Let's make our own little metric using a ratio of the revenue and passenger numbers. I won't be using the rounded numbers for this. I'll call it loyalty revenue per enplanement. An enplanement is industry jargon for a customer that boards a flight and travels. The ratio doesn't factor in cost, but it's another way of looking at the revenue that the co-branded credit card partnerships bring in. Delta's credit card partnership was number one. It brought in $35.79 per enplaned passenger in 2023. That's not for each cardholder. It's the revenue averaged out for all passengers that set foot on a plane. $35.79 per passenger is an impressive number. In second place is American Airlines at $24.68 per passenger. In third place is United Airlines at $16.37 per passenger. In fourth place is Southwest Airlines at $15.30 per passenger. My guess is that United and Southwest will try to close the gap between them and American and Delta. What makes co-branded credit cards so appealing to the airlines and the banks that love them? Traditionally, loyalty programs have been used in different industries to create stickiness. Basically, the idea is that businesses offer incentives to prevent customers from going to their competitors. Airline co-branded credit cards go beyond stickiness. Customers are kind of like hostages with Stockholm Syndrome. All right, maybe that's taking it a little bit too far, but when you think about it, customers are kind of trapped. What happens to your credit score when you close a credit card account? Can your credit score drop? It can. What if the co-branded account you're closing is your oldest line of credit? That can lead to an even bigger drop in your credit score. Airlines and the banks know that once you open a credit card account, you're going to be around for a while. Maybe you're thinking, hey, I'll just keep the account open and not use the card. Then my credit score isn't impacted. Let's look at that option. The first drawback is that you could still be paying annual fees even though you aren't using the card. As we see from the table on the screen, 11 out of the 13 co-branded credit card offerings from the big airlines carry annual fees. At the time of this research in September of 2024, American and United each have one offering with zero annual fees. There are some offers for zero annual fees for the first year, and then it's $95, $99, or $150 after that. But who keeps a card for 1 year? Right. No fee for the first year is kind of a gimmick. The card offerings from all the carriers have fees that vary from $69 to $650 per year with several price points in between. To be fair, I have to mention that it is possible to limit the negative impact on your credit score if you close an account. You can zero out the balance of all your credit cards, then close the airline co-branded credit card. Another possibility is checking with the bank to find out if it's possible to downgrade to a card that has no annual fee. So we've just found the first inefficiency, where the promise of free travel maybe isn't accurate. Let's say you're paying $99 per year for your annual fee. After 4 or 5 years, what you've paid in annual fees is about equal to the cost of an airline ticket.
Whenever the seatbelt sign is on, your seatbelt must be fastened low and tight across your hips. To fasten, insert the flat end into the buckle and pull on the strap to tighten.
The next thing to realize is that if you're not disciplined about managing your debt, you could pay a lot in interest charges. Let's take a look at those interest rates that are on the screen. United has one card that offers 0% for the first year only. Among the 4 large carriers, the interest rates range from 20.49% to 29.99%. It's not a stretch to think that the banks are sharing some of the revenue with the airlines that are collected in annual fees and interest. I'll end this segment with another example of where a free ticket really isn't free. Let's imagine that you have a credit card with the 29.99% interest rate and you leave an unpaid balance of $1,500 for just one cycle. That's almost $450 that you pay in interest. Would that amount buy you an airline ticket to a few different places in the U.S.? Probably. What if you leave an unpaid balance for more than 1 month? Then you're also paying interest on the previous interest charges. If you aren't disciplined about zeroing out the balance each month, then it's easy to pay thousands of dollars in interest charges in a year's time. In that scenario, the money paid in interest charges could have instead been used to buy several airline tickets. When it comes to annual fees and interest charges, it's about the consumer's discipline in paying the card off every month. If you sign up for a co-branded credit card because you want a free trip, then make sure you aren't paying thousands of dollars in fees and interest to get that free trip.
Turbulence may occur without warning. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times, even when the seatbelt sign is off.
The real magic for the airlines comes from controlling the value of the points and using the powerful marketing of the co-branded credit card partnerships. That is the goose that lays golden eggs day after day. Here are the 3 main areas where the airlines control the value of points in their frequent flyer programs. Accumulation. The airlines can and do adjust how many points the members accumulate. It's like opening a faucet. They can open it a lot so the customers get more points, or tighten it so they get fewer points. I'm not picking on Delta, but they have an easy example right now. If you buy their cheapest tickets, the basic economy fare, you will not get any points for the trip. Redemption value. In the last decade, airlines have started using something called dynamic pricing for issuing reward tickets. That means that the number of points needed to book a reward ticket will vary, and this is set up in the airline's favor. The points needed can correlate with ticket prices or with how full the flight is forecasted to be. While searching for flights, what the dynamic pricing does is nudge customers towards the flight that are likely to go out with empty seats. They do this by requiring fewer points for the reward tickets. Popular flights or flights with high profit margins are less likely to have reward seats available. A reward ticket on a popular route is probably going to require a lot of points to book the ticket. Validity. Right now, your points with American Airlines expire after 2 years if you don't have any activity or if you're not a co-branded credit card holder. The ultra low-cost carriers, who are not part of this investigation, they currently have scenarios where miles can expire. The question is, what will be the trend in the future for the large carriers? Will miles expiration become something they all do? We'll see.
There is a total of 6 emergency exits on this aircraft, 2 window exits located mid-cabin over the wing.
The airlines have figured out how to turbocharge the profitability of the frequent flyer programs, and they do that by selling points to commercial partners. This is how it works. The airlines create points out of thin air, package them up, and sell them to their partners for real cash. So the airlines receive payment from their partners for the points. The partners turn around and give those points to the customers when they make a purchase. You've seen the pitch. Hey, customer, you can earn 5 frequent flyer points for every $1 spent on dinner, on your groceries, for your hotel, for your rent-a-car, etc. Let's walk through this. As I mentioned, the airlines sell points to commercial partners and get paid a lot of money. The partners give the points out to their customers when they make a purchase. Here's the kicker. The customer might not ever redeem those points for a flight. Even when points are used for a ticket, the airline can use dynamic pricing and availability to influence customers to take a flight that is probably going to have empty seats anyway. In that case, the cost to the airline is insignificant. For airlines, the ability to sell points to commercial partners, which might not ever get redeemed by the customer, is like printing money. And that is why I believe the DOT is doing this inquiry. I would be surprised if the DOT penalizes the airlines when this investigation is over. They have requested a mountain of information that details every aspect of how these programs are run. In my opinion, this is a warning shot for the airlines. The data collected will help the DOT be ready in the case that airlines get overly greedy in the future.
Michael 642, descend to maintain 4,000.
Descend to maintain 4,000, Aeromexico 642.
I'll keep it simple. I see members of frequent flyer programs being divided into two groups. I'll start with the easy one first. The first group does a lot of traveling for work, and the company pays for all of it. They'll quickly accumulate enough points for free tickets and a lot of additional perks. For this group, the frequent flyer programs are a great benefit. Should these active travelers also sign up for a co-branded credit card? If the terms of the card are to their liking and they believe that they'll keep it for a long time, then it might not be a bad idea. Now the second group, this group does not travel for work. I hate to say it, but if you fall into this group, there's a good chance that earning enough points for free travel could be more fantasy than reality. Why would I say that? Let's do a little exercise to put things into perspective. Pick your favorite big airline and check prices for a flight similar to trips that you're likely to take. Write down the cost for that trip. If you're lucky, their website might tell you how many points the trip will earn. If not, then you'll have to review the terms of the program and calculate how many points you'll get for the price of the ticket. Now go through these steps of booking a reward ticket for that same trip. Write down how many points are needed for free travel. What we're doing is using an example trip to get an idea of how many points we might earn. We then turn around and see how many points are needed for a reward ticket on that same route. I did this for 2 airlines that are part of this investigation. I used flights from Los Angeles to Chicago as my basis for comparison. The travel dates were 6 weeks into the future. For one airline, I would need to take 14 trips to accumulate enough points to get a free ticket on that same route. For the other airline, I needed even more than that. Not to complicate things, but I want to point out that money spent on taxes, fees, assigned seating, and bags might not count towards your accumulation of points. Maybe things are a little less rosy when you look at it that way. But wait. Maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I know what you're thinking. You can get a co-branded credit card and get the free trip using the sign-up bonus. Well, first off, just know that you don't get a free trip just by getting a card. The offers all require that you spend a minimum amount of money using the new credit card within a specific time frame. And no, you're not going to trick them by transferring an existing balance onto the card or going on a shopping spree and then returning the items. On the screen, I have a basic list of the spending requirements for the different card types offered. Southwest has the same spending requirement for all the cards it offers. It's $1,000 in 3 months. Delta has 4 options where you must spend between $1,000 and $6,000 in 6 months. United has 4 card options where you must spend between $1,000 and $5,000 in 3 months. American has 3 options where you must spend between $500 and $7,000 in 3 months, and 1 option of spending $5,000 in 5 months. In my case, my normal monthly expenses are not enough for me to meet the higher spending requirements for these offerings. Your situation might be different. What I'm emphasizing is that you need to be careful which card you choose. You won't get the sign-up bonus if you don't hit the spending requirement. Yelling at the phone representatives or writing angry emails is not going to change that. How many people get a co-branded credit card but don't hit the spending requirements to claim the bonus points? That information is proprietary, but it happens. We got those angry calls all day, every day, back when I was in customer service. Exceptions were never made. So the person that doesn't travel for business and doesn't get the sign-up bonus will need a few years or more of taking flights to earn enough points to get a free trip. Here's something that many people don't consider. After a few years, the points that are needed for a free trip might be higher than at the time than when they signed up. It's called point devaluation or mileage devaluation, and you can do an internet search for that. Maybe you're thinking what I'm thinking. Is it possible that some customers' points go unused because the finish line keeps moving further and further away and they never redeem for a free trip? Exactly how many points go unused? We don't know. It's an industry secret. I found articles online that were based on surveys and research, and the estimates range from 50% to 92% of the points not being used. Those estimates are so different that they're useless, but it's safe to assume that a fair amount of the points don't ever get redeemed. Here's a quote from Ari Goldfein of the Vanderbilt Law Review. He said, "In other words, the value of the point system lies in ensuring consumers believe that points are valuable while limiting the points' actual value."
For 3615 North Tower, wind 3306, my 22 left, clear to land. Just left, well, we get 3615. Jazz 944, just bring it back to final first speed, please. Back to final, Jazz 944.
As for frequent flyer programs feature beaches or exotic foreign destinations or frozen drinks on a table next to a pool. It's all very appealing and stirs up the imagination. But are those ads closer to fantasy or reality? The airline collects revenue from selling points to commercial partners, and everywhere you're enticed with reminders that using your co-branded credit card when you shop or dine out is earning points that you could use to get a free trip. Airlines have a lot of data, and they use statistical analysis and machine learning to optimize the frequent flyer programs. Redeeming your points for your dream vacation might not be as easy as you had thought when you signed up. When it comes time to book a trip, you might be surprised at how many points are needed for the dates and times that you want. With co-branded credit cards, the airlines have developed a lucrative side hustle that is a dream for them. A side hustle that, when compared to airline operations, has no seasonal dips, no unpredictable surges in fuel prices, no pandemics, no strikes by employees, no weather or technology disruptions. Were you listening closely? Because when I said those words, every airline executive just squealed with delight.
For your continued comfort and safety, we do ask that you remain in your seats. Your seatbelt securely fastened. Your carry-on luggage stowed into the aircraft is parked at the gate.
So are frequent flyer programs bait and switch? The answer is no. That's because they make the terms and conditions available to everyone before signing up. It takes time and effort to understand each program and how it works, but the information is there. The terms also include the right to make whatever changes they want, whenever they want. Frequent flyer programs are a perk that the airlines offer for being a loyal customer. No one is forcing people to sign up for the programs or the co-branded credit cards. When it comes to co-branded credit cards, for any industry, it's up to you, the consumer, to know what you're signing up for. Learn the details of the programs and the credit cards and be a savvy consumer. If you can get elite status with an airline, then the perks are really nice. Priority line at the ticket counter, priority boarding, seat upgrades, first class domestic, business class on international, and lounge access will make you feel like a rock star. Once you've had a taste of the good life, you'll never want to go back to long lines and crowded middle seats. That's all I've got. Thanks for listening.